Okay, I am going to make basic white bread, and I'm actually doing this for my daughters and my granddaughters, possibly even my grandsons if they're ever interested. But this is 101, basic white bread 101. You can make a loaf out of this, you can make a round loaf out of this, you can make rolls out of this. And so we're going to just start with the ingredients. This is a tutorial for those who are interested in making bread and never have done it before. So let's get started. You don't need to have a stand mixer for this. I use mine, but you don't have to have one. You could do this by hand. It's not really hard. If you're young, you have the strength in your arms, you can do this. It's not hard. Okay, so first of all, I want to lay out all my ingredients before I even get started. I want to make sure I have everything that I need, including oil or butter. So this is a basic white bread recipe. Okay, in a bowl, you want to warm up water, but you don't want it hot. You're going to use that warm water to put the yeast in. And I'm using today the active dry yeast. And on the back, it'll show you how much it equals to in one package. This package equals 2 1/4 teaspoons. So if you have another recipe, go by that recipe and you can measure out from the package. In this recipe, it does ask for the 2 1/4 teaspoons active dry yeast. And then I'll be putting that aside for a good 5-10 minutes to get it all it'll look kind of frothy. That means the yeast is active. If it's not getting frothy or what they call bloomed, then the yeast isn't any good. It could be old, and so try some different yeast. Then I'm going to, in this big bowl here that goes to the stand mixer, I'm going to put 2 1/2 cups flour in there and salt and combine the oil or the butter in there. And then I'm going to mix that up a little bit. And then I'm going to add the yeast and water mix. And then I'm going to get that going in the stand mixer. And I want to mix that in the stand mixer, scraping the sides from time to time for about a good 7, maybe 8 minutes, where the dough is not real sticky. It's supple. It should be supple. And if it's a little bit sticky or sticky-ish, add just a little bit of flour at a time, just a little bit, so it gets to that supple, nice feel of a good dough. And then when you're done with that, take the dough out of the bowl, and it should be separating on the sides. You know, when it's really mixed well, it starts separating on the sides, and it's supple and everything. So take it out of the bowl and put it on a lightly floured surface. I'm going to put it on a lightly floured surface, and I'm going to knead it a little more just to make sure it's where I want it, and then shape it into kind of a ball, and then place it into a slightly greased bowl and cover it with some saran wrap and let it double its size, which should be about an hour. And then when you're done with that, put the dough onto the lightly floured surface, a fresh surface, and punch it down a little bit. Not punch, but, bring it down a little bit to get the air bubbles out of it, and start kneading it again, and knead it for just a little bit. You could knead it for 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes, and get that shaped into the shape you want. If you put it in a round, you could put it in a round casserole type of dish, oven safe dish, slightly greased, and also, or you could put it in a regular loaf pan and that's got to be greased too. You got your oven, should be on about 375. So what you do, I probably should show you, but you can bring down the loaf and make it into a rectangle and fold it over so it's the shape of that loaf, and then put the seam side down into the loaf pan and bake it that way. And then if you really want to get fancy, you can take egg wash, which is an egg, mix it up real good, or you can take the egg white or the egg yolk, either one or both, and brush it across the top of the loaf after it has risen. You're ready to bake, because you want to rise it again the second time, another 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast your bread is rising. But when it's ready to go into the oven, right before to go into the oven, that's when you can brush the top of the loaf with egg wash, or even milk, a little bit of milk if you don't have an egg. And that'll help brown it a little bit more on top. And if you really want to get fancy, put some kind of seeds on it, like poppy seeds or sesame seeds on top if you want. But that's a basic bread recipe. And I'm going to get started, and hang on. So I've got the yeast and the flour, and I'm just going to stir it up a tad so it gets all moist all over all of it. And we're just going to let this sit for a little bit. And we got to put some sugar in there too. 1.5 teaspoons sugar. So I put the 1.5 teaspoons of sugar in there. The sugar is needed, either sugar or a little bit of potato, something that has natural sugar to it. You can use a little bit of fruit, mashed up fruit a little bit, something, because the yeast thrives on the sugar, and that'll get it where it needs to go. You want to have this nicely frothy, a little bit frothy. So I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to do the dry ingredients. I just don't have room right now for putting this up, so I'm going to have to record with one hand and keep pausing. Sorry about that, but you know what I'm doing. I'm going to put in the 2.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon salt, and then I'm going to add the 1 tablespoon butter or oil. And then when the yeast is ready, I'm going to put into the flour mix, stir it up a little bit, and then put it on the stand mixer. Okay, as you can see, the yeast with water and sugar is frothy, and I've got my salt, butter, and flour, 2.5 cups of flour, in the bowl, and I'm going to put the yeast mixture into the bowl, and then we'll get that started on this stand mixer. Hang on. Okay, I got everything in the bowl, and if you're using a stand mixer, you want to add you can do a paddle at first and mix it together, or you can just mix it together with the dough hook, which you're going to need to shape and mix the dough. And if you are doing it by hand, this is when you'd flour the surface and start kneading the bread. What you can do is like, see if I can't demonstrate without the dough. Put it on lightly floured surface and just go back and forth with it and turn it around and do it like this, you know, just back and forth. And you want to do that for a good, you know, 5, 6, 7 minutes. And it'll give you a little bit of a workout, but it's not difficult. If you're just doing one loaf, one loaf. But if you're doing more than one loaf, like 2 loaves, it could be a bit challenging. But so I'm going to put this on here. Okay, and I'm going to plug it in and get it started. So I've got it on low right now, getting it just kind of mixed up. And I'll use my spatula thing here to scrape it down every now and then. So it'll get on the sides. Just scrape it down after you stop the machine, then scrape it down. Let's see what we're doing here. All right. You want to get all scraped down from the sides. Get all in there. And every stand mixer that I know of needs to be scraped. So it's perfectly normal. Just get it all scraped. Oh man. Hang on. I can't do it with one hand here. So we'll continue. And then we'll keep doing this for about, when it gets all mixed up, we want to do this for a good 7 to 8 minutes. Okay, so stupidly me, when I copied down this recipe, I didn't put enough water in there. I didn't put the rest of how much water. I just put for the yeast. So I do believe it's like another cup of water. So I'm going to see how dry that is. It's good, but I need to put about a cup into there, and I'm just going to add it slowly. Okay, I added the water. The dough looks good, and I'm going to let it go, continue for about 7 minutes. Now see how the dough is pulled away from the sides, and it's mixed really well, and it looks pretty good. So when it's done, I'll put it on the counter, lightly floured surface here. Okay, the dough is looking really good. I'm going to turn it over onto the lightly floured surface. It is slightly tacky, but not bad. So hang on. I'm trying to set up the camera so you can see, but I can't get a position correctly. My tripod is not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to put a little bit of flour on the top and knead it a little bit. It is absolutely perfect. Perfect, supple, and knead the bread like this a little bit, and get it shaped how you want it. And I'm going to put this dough into a bowl, lightly greased bowl, and let it double in its size. So plastic wrap on the top. And that's for an hour. And then we'll put it on the lightly floured surface again. Put your dough in a warm place. And then I'm going to put it, after that hour, put it on the surface, freshly done here, and knead it down a little bit more, and then let it rise again for about 45 minutes or so to an hour. And then I'm going to put some egg wash on it and then bake it. Okay, I think we're about ready to bring out the dough. And it is doubled in size. And we're going to turn it out onto lightly floured surface. Whoa, that was close. It'd be a bummer if it landed on the floor. Okay, we're going to put a little bit of flour on there, on the top. Oh, yeah. Feels really good. I don't want to put too much flour on there. But yeah, I'm going to put it in a rectangle shape, about the size of the pan here. Put the seam side down. And cover this and let it sit for at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Okay, over by the stove. Okay, and then I'll whitewash it with an egg. Or egg wash it, not whitewash it, but egg wash it. And I've got a mess to clean up here. Okay, I'm mixing up the egg. And just about time for the bread to go into the oven. I'm going to brush with this little thing here. Give it a little egg wash. I'm going to give it a couple of more minutes. Okay, it is about time to give this an egg wash. And looks really good. So we'll give it a little bit of an egg wash here. Now what you can do after you do the egg wash, if you plan to do an egg wash in like this, or you can use milk. You can put a little bit of your favorite topping on there, like poppy seeds or sesame seeds, which I do have right here. Poppy seeds. There. So now I'm going to put it into the oven for, oh, I don't know, and check it probably in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I think this will be in there for about a half hour. I don't know. But I'm going to check on it at a certain point. So let me put this in, and then we'll take it out when it's done. Okay, everybody, there it is. A loaf of bread. And it sounds hollow when you tap on it. It smells delicious. It really does. Okay, I put the bread on a cookie sheet with parchment paper. And I got my bread knife. So let's see how this looks here. Oh, which way do I want to cut it? There we go. Steaming hot still. Yummy. Yummy, yum. Yummy. Let's get some bread, butter for the bread here. Oh, yeah. Oh, it smells so good. I love freshly baked bread. If you don't know how to make bread, don't be scared of making it. It's easy and it is delicious. Put some jam on here or honey. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Very good.